My husband's business partner was throwing another tantrum. This time, the way he appeased her was assigned divorce papers. These things happened every now and then, and I always had to clean up his mess. I used to rush to them to argue, even tried to hurt myself to make him stay. But each time, he would just add more zeros to the check he threw at me. Daniel, full of impatience, who else would give you all this besides me? Be content. I calmly took the divorce papers and signed my name. His expression softened slightly, and he coaxed in a gentle voice, "Be good, it's just a fake divorce. Before the waiting period ends, I'll go cancel it. Once I get her patent, I promise I'll kick her out and never deal with her again. You'll always be Mrs. Daniel." I just quietly picked up the check from the floor. He didn't know, I had been waiting for this day for a long time. "Hello, the divorce registration information has been confirmed. It will officially take effect in 30 days. The clerk didn't even look up. "This is the 7th time you've filed for divorce, isn't it? From now on, you don't need to queue, use the express lane." I took the receipt from the staff. Daniel immediately snatched it from my hand to take a photo. Then he anxiously waited for the reply from the phone, like a young man deeply in love. But soon, his brow slightly furrowed. "Wife, just divorcing isn't enough this time. Brittany said I never successfully divorced before, said I wasn't sincere enough." He looked at me, his tone hesitant. "Brittany wants to move into our marital home. You see, since we're divorced, it's not appropriate for me to stay in the marital home anymore. I'll move out." Seeing me agree, Daniel immediately pulled out the renovation plans for the marital home to show me. "Hazel, does this design look good?" It seemed Brittany was already busy designing the new home before I even moved out. The decoration plan for our marital home was done by me, because Daniel said a tall home personally arranged by the wife was the warmest. But in a blink, it was going to be completely changed. Luxurious yet tasteful, it must be Brittany's work. I calmly nodded. "It looks good." On the way home, "Hazel," Daniel's tone carried his usual condescension. Later, when we passed by the jewelry store, "Pick out a new necklace. Didn't you say that Van Arpels clover necklace Brittany wore last time was pretty?" I didn't respond. I just held my phone and sent a text message. "I'm divorced, does your previous promise still count?" The other side replied quickly, "This promise will always be valid for you. Then we'll meet at City Hall a month from now." Somehow, a sharp, cramping pain suddenly shot through my lower abdomen. I groaned, my body instinctively arching. "Hazel, what's wrong?" Daniel slowed down the car. "My stomach hurts so much." Soon, I passed out from the pain. When I opened my eyes again, there was the pungent smell of disinfectant. A nurse was busy inserting in 4 drip. Daniel stood by the bed, softly coaxing someone on his phone screen. Seeing me awake, he reluctantly hung up. "The doctor said you have an ectopic pregnancy and need immediate surgery." His tone was as casual as discussing bad weather. "How did this happen? Didn't I buy you 2,000 prescription birth control pills? I watched you take 10 pills every time, and you still got pregnant?" I tugged at the corner of my mouth, wanting to laugh but could only make hoarse sounds. Yes, he always said the regular dose wasn't safe, and he'd only feel relieved after watching me swallow 10 pills every time. I wanted to explain that maybe the overdose caused an endocrine imbalance, and the fertilized egg implanted directly in the fallopian tube, but the abdominal pain struck again, leaving me speechless. "All right, don't say anything." Daniel interrupted me, pacing anxiously. "Brittany just called, said she's working overtime at the company and has a fever, a bad headache. You getting into trouble at this critical moment will just make her angry with me again." He leaned closer, pinching my chin, his eyes showing no concern, only a warning. "Remember, after the surgery, don't say anything. Just say you have acute gastroenteritis." Beep, his phone rang again. This time it was a video call request. The screen displayed "Brittany, sweetie." Daniel immediately answered, his voice instantly soft enough to drip water. "Brittany, what's wrong? Is your headache better? I'll be right there." Good girl, don't push yourself." When he turned, the tenderness on his face vanished instantly, leaving only impatience. "I have to go." He grabbed his suit jacket. "I'll have Liam come stay with you for the surgery. Brittany always pretends to be strong in front of me. This is a rare moment she's showing weakness to me. I have to go." "Daniel." I used my last bit of strength to call him. "Don't you know an ectopic pregnancy can be fatal?" He paused, then turned to look at me, a hint of disdain in his eyes. "Stop making a fuss, Hazel. You know I can't be without Brittany. Her patent is too important to the company. As for you." He paused, as if choosing his words carefully. "Once I'm done with this, I'll give you more compensation." compensation again. He was always like this, thinking money could buy anything, including my life. As for the patent, I just hope you won't regret it after you get it. After the surgery, the anesthesia hadn't fully worn off. When I was pushed back to the ward, I saw Brittany holding Daniel's arm, wrapped in a cashmere coat, her face flushed like a socialite visiting a patient, not a trace of fever. Hazel, you're awake? Daniel saw me, instinctively wanted to break free from Brittany's hand, but she gripped him tighter. She tilted her head, assessing me, her gaze falling on the 4-line in my wrist, a provocative smile on her lips. Acute gastroenteritis must be very painful. Are you all right? Before I could speak, Brittany started to act coquettishly towards Daniel. Daniel, my head hurts. You promised to let me stay in a VIP ward. This place smells so strongly of disinfectant. Daniel immediately looked at me, a faint apology in his eyes. If you need anything, just ask Liam. Let him handle it. Brittany is delicate, I'll take her to the VIP ward first. As he turned, I glimpsed Brittany shaking her wrist at me. The family heirloom diamond bracelet was on her slender wrist, so lustrous it reflected images. Wait. I spoke, my voice still trembling from the anesthesia. That bracelet. Oh, this? Brittany raised her hand, the bracelet shimmering softly under the light. Daniel said since you two are divorced anyway, the Evergreen family's wife's belongings should naturally go to the new lady of the house. What, you still want it? Daniel coughed twice, lowering his voice as he spoke to me. It's just a bracelet. Brittany said she wanted it, so I gave it to her. Just let her have it for now, and later I'll have the jewelry store find a better material to make you one, okay? I stared at him, suddenly remembering 7 years ago. Daniel knelt on one knee, putting this bracelet on my wrist, saying he would protect me for life. Hazel, my mother's bracelet, only for you to wear from now on. But now he put it on Brittany's hand. She's always been dramatic, just ignore her. With that, he led Brittany towards the VIP ward. As pushed me to the ward, I heard the nurses whispering. It's tough being the original wife these days. She had a massive hemorrhage from an ectopic pregnancy and was left unattended in the hospital. The other woman just has a slight cold, and they're going to great lengths to arrange the best doctor, the best ward. Liam, next to me, hesitated. Madam, would you like to eat something? Liam offered the warm broth, his voice filled with guilt. He had followed Daniel for 5 years and knew how deeply in love we once were. A notification sound came from my phone. It was a voice message from Brittany. She said the bracelet looked perfect on her, unlike some people who looked like fakes even when wearing it. Liam clenched his fists in anger, but I smiled. My fingertips gently stroked the incision on my abdomen, where an unformed embryo had just been removed by the doctor. I sent the embryo's photo and my surgical record to Brittany. Daniel wasn't afraid of Brittany knowing I had an ectopic pregnancy. I specifically wanted her to know. Just then, a phone call came in. Hazel, what kind of wedding theme do you like? Soon, I heard the sound of the bracelet shattering on the floor, Brittany's furious screams, and the ward door being violently pushed open. Brittany rushed in, holding her phone. Daniel followed behind, looking bewildered. All right, Daniel, she approached the bed. You said you two were separated for a year, but she got pregnant with a bastard? Her nail almost poked my forearm, or are you just reluctant to let her go? Was I just a plaything to you? I looked at Daniel's instantly pale face and suddenly laughed. The weakness after surgery made my voice float. Bastard? Ms. Brittany, why don't you ask your dear Mr. Daniel whose idea it was for me to wear a cheapao in the old family home's guest room last month? Shut up. Daniel roared, cutting me off. Hazel, we're divorced. What's the point of saying all this? Brittany, listen to me. I was drunk last time. She seduced me, but I didn't sleep with her. He hastily explained to Brittany. Brittany, however, suddenly started laughing and crying. Daniel, how could you do this to me? I trusted you so much, was so sincere with you. Brittany, she and I haven't had feelings for each other for a long time. I only occasionally went home for our daughter's sake. It's just that we're divorced, and she wants to retaliate against me, deliberately saying the child is mine. Hazel, apologize to Brittany right now and say the child is yours and some other man's. Daniel frantic. Ally winked at me. If it's a bastard or not, we can do a DNA test. I looked at Daniel. Do you dare? Daniel's face turned pale, avoiding my gaze. Just then, 7-year-old Lily walked in. She went straight to Aunt. Aunt, what's wrong? Is she bullying you again? Lily, sweetie, Auntie is fine. In front of Lily, Brittany quickly switched to her understanding mode. Since entering the room, Lily hadn't even looked at me, lying in the bed. I couldn't help but call her. Lily. Don't call me. She finally looked at me, but her eyes held a disgust I didn't recognize. I didn't come to see you. Aunt said you're mentally unstable now, always throwing tantrums and self-harming to get Dad's attention. What kind of trick are you pulling this time? I struggled to sit up. Lily, I'm your real mom. Enough. She shrieked, cutting me off. Aunt is better than you in every way. She reads me English picture books. Even the uncles at Dad's company say she's a genius inventor. What about you? You just hide at home and cry. Lily, don't be like that. Mom just had surgery and needs rest. Brittany feigned concern for me, but her eyes were full of provocation. I want Aunt to be my mom. Aunt says a real mom should support Dad's career, not be a jealous housewife like you. Seeing completely led astray by Brittany, I looked at Daniel. Daniel, you promised not to let other women affect the child. What other women? Daniel seemed very nervous, afraid Brittany would be even slightly wronged. We're already divorced. Brittany is my legitimate girlfriend. He leaned closer to me, his voice threatening. Hazel, is it so hard to cooperate with me for a little act? Why are you so inconsiderate? Don't you know this is a critical period for securing the patent? Can't you just endure a little longer? I was sick of hearing such words. When did my patience run out? It was when Brittany first came to the company, and he directly gave her my position as vice president, making me administrative tasks at the front desk, making me the laughingstock of the entire company, and that's when I became the useless mom Lily talked about. It was on our wedding anniversary that he left me, taking Lily to celebrate Brittany's birthday. He posted a photo of the three of them on social media, and my mother-in-law blamed me for not being able to keep my own husband. It was when he transferred the critical medication my mother relied on for Brittany's father's high blood pressure, and my mother died of kidney failure. I just knew I was too lazy to cooperate with his act now. Brittany, Daniel, and I aren't officially divorced yet? You're so eager to become my daughter's stepmom? Enough. Daniel suddenly roared. For all these years, you've eaten my food and worn my clothes, even your family depended on me. Now you're playing the victim? I looked at Daniel, suddenly feeling like he was a stranger. Do you remember what you said at our wedding? You said you would make me the happiest woman in the world. Childish. To let you live in a villa, drive a luxury car, and give your mother the best treatment, that's real happiness. As for love. He glanced at Brittany, his eyes softening. A woman like Brittany understands what it means to be equally matched. I could no longer control myself and slapped Brittany. The crisp sound of slap was exceptionally clear in the ward. Brittany stumbled, covering her face and looking at me in disbelief. You dare hit me? Daniel immediately stepped forward to shield Brittany, roaring at me. Hazel, are you crazy? Lily also shrieked and pounced, her fists raining down on my recently operated incision. Bad mommy. Apologized to Aunt quickly. I was in so much pain, I reached out to push her away, but Daniel grabbed my wrist and twisted it behind my back. Not apologizing, huh? You hit Brittany once, I'll hit you 10 times. Hazel, you're forcing my hand. Daniel finished speaking and then raised his hand, slapping me 10 times, each blow heavier than the last. When the 10th blow landed, I was slapped to the ground. I could feel the ectopic pregnancy incision tearing, blood seeping down my inner thigh. Wen's gaze fell on the rapidly expanding bloodstain on my pants, his pupils constricted sharply. He instinctively took half a step forward. But this fleeting flicker of hesitation was completely shattered by Brittany's delicate voice. She's definitely faking it. Trying to gain sympathy so I'll forgive her. I've seen this trick too many times. Brittany looked at me with disdain, then suddenly clutched her chest and coughed. Daniel, I feel so stuffy in my chest. It must be from that slap. My heart is beating so fast now. Brittany. Daniel's attention was instantly completely drawn away. He didn't even look at me again, quickly supporting Brittany. Are you uncomfortable anywhere? I'll take you to see a doctor. Madam, she's bleeding a lot. Liam, seeing how weak I was getting, was dripping with sweat and anxiety. What could be wrong with her? Daniel interrupted impatiently. Just pretending to be pitiful. Liam, come with me to take Brittany to the cardiology department for a checkup. There are nurses here, she won't die. He practically half carried Brittany out, Lily following behind them, even turning back to make a face at me. Bad mommy, serves you right. The ward door slammed shut with a bang, cutting off all sound from outside. I wanted to press the call button, but the call button showed it was faulty. I wanted to cry out but had no strength. My blood was nearly drained, and my mind began to wander. Perhaps seeing Daniel's heartlessness towards me, Brittany finally believed she was the one Daniel truly chose. Moved by Daniel's sincerity, she authorized her patent to Evergreen. At this time, Brittany's patent authorization was securely in Evergreen's safe, the drone technology project was progressing rapidly, and the stock price skyrocketed, and instantly became a new titan in the city's tech industry. To celebrate, Daniel took Brittany on a 2-month global trip, even getting married in Lost Midway, but felt an emptiness in his heart, like a missing piece. Brittany said she wanted to take wedding photos in the Maldives, but he only vaguely agreed, his gaze continuously falling on our chat history. Over the past 2 months, he had sent me countless messages. From initial impatient questions like "Why aren't you replying?" to later frantic inquiries like "Where are you?" and finally almost pleading "Hazel, say something to me." But all messages fell on deaf ears. He video called Lily to ask, and Lily also said she hadn't seen me since returning from the hospital. Just then, Brittany leaned in sweetly, "Daniel, we're truly husband and wife now." He abruptly pushed her away, his tone annoyed. "Don't touch me, I'm tired." Brittany's smile froze, then changed to a wronged expression. "Daniel, what's wrong? Are you still thinking about Hazel?" "Shut up," Daniel growled, showing impatience to Brittany for the first time. "I'm going back to the country. Something came up at the company." He booked the earliest flight back to the country. Liam was already waiting with a folder at the VIP channel. "Mr. Daniel, you're finally back." Liam's expression was complex. "These are your divorce certificates." Daniel took the folder. Inside were clearly 2 divorce certificates. The issue date was clear, exactly a month ago. "What's going on?" Daniel's voice suddenly rose, grabbing Liam's collar. "Didn't I say this was a fake divorce? I told you to cancel it. What kind of job did you do?" Liam's face turned red from being choked, struggling to explain. "Mr. Daniel, didn't you say before you went abroad to wait until you got the patent to deal with it? Then you never followed up, and you wouldn't answer my calls." City Hall said it automatically took effect after the waiting period and couldn't be cancelled. Daniel felt as if struck by lightning. Abruptly letting go and staggering back half a step. The divorce certificate slipped from his trembling hands. Now the most important thing was to find Hazel. Once he found her, he would coax her well and then remarry her. Daniel quietly comforted himself. He rushed straight to the hospital. "Excuse me, the Hazel who used to live here, how is she?" He grabbed a nurse and asked, his voice urgent. The nurse recognized him, a hint of disdain in her eyes. "You're Mr. Daniel? Hazel. After you left that day, she had a massive hemorrhage, and the call button wire was cut. If someone hadn't found her in time and rescued her." "Rescued? Who rescued her? Where is she now?" Daniel's heart sank sharply. "We don't know either. It was a man wearing a mask, driving a black Bentley. He just took her away." The nurse shook her head. "We reported it to the police later, but they didn't find anything." "Bentley?" A blurred figure flashed in Daniel's mind, but he couldn't grasp it. He walked out of the hospital in a daze, and inexplicably drove to Hazel's mother's old house. The door lock was rusty. A neighbor saw him and asked in surprise, "Are you Hazel's husband? Her mom passed away almost a year ago, didn't you know?" "Passed away?" Daniel was stunned as if struck by lightning. "When did that happen?" "Around this time last year," the neighbor sighed. "It was kidney failure. I heard she was relying on some imported medicine, but then it suddenly stopped, and she didn't make it. Lily came crying every day back then, but you never showed up. Medicine stopped." Daniel's mind buzzed, as if something had exploded. At that time, Brittany's father needed a critical medication for his hospitalization, and the hospital had limited stock. To impress Brittany, he insisted his assistant transfer the medicine originally reserved for Hazel's mother. Hazel called him countless times begging him, but he found her annoying, saying, "Is the old lady's illness more important than Brittany's father's life?" and then blocked her calls. It turned out that Hazel's mother died the day after Brittany's father was hospitalized. And he, for the sake of his so-called career, personally cut off his mother-in-law's lifeline, and ignored his wife's pleas for help. Huge guilt and panic swept over him. He staggered back a few steps, hitting the wall. Daniel returned to our marital home, which was already barely recognizable, with no trace of my previous life. The living room I had decorated warmly and elegantly was now filled with Brittany's abstract paintings. The air permeated with her usual rose scent, but I could no longer smell the scent of brewing coffee. "Quickly move these things out and restore it to its original state," Daniel instructed the housekeeper. The housekeeper looked troubled, but Ms. Brittany said these were all carefully chosen by her, and she told us not to touch them. Daniel felt another surge of annoyance. I said move them out. "This is Hazel and my home, not Brittany's showroom." The housekeeper dared not say more and quickly began directing the servants to act. Soon the marital home was restored to its previous appearance. Just then, Brittany returned, looking disheveled. Daniel, what's with your attitude? You left me alone abroad, and you didn't even pick me up when I flew all this way back. Upon entering, Brittany realized the house's decoration had reverted to its original state. Daniel, what do you mean? Why did you let someone touch my things? Brittany demanded. Just then, a call came from the company. After a few words on the phone, Daniel's face turned as dark as the bottom of a pot. Seeing ignoring her and taking the call, Brittany angrily snatched Daniel's phone and hung up. When had Brittany ever been so neglected by Daniel? I'm talking to you. You have to explain yourself today. But at this moment, Daniel looked at her with an almost icy gaze. Brittany finally felt something was wrong, and cautiously asked, Daniel, did some effing happen at the company? Brittany, what's going on with your patent? Daniel finally couldn't control his anger. He had just received a call from his lawyer saying that Evergreen was being sued by a foreign company for patent infringement. The evidence presented by the other party showed that the core technology of Brittany's so-called exclusive patent had already been patented by them, and Brittany's version only had some insignificant modifications. In other words, Brittany's patent had no exclusivity at all, and Evergreen's heavily invested drone technology project was built on sand from the very beginning. Brittany was startled by him, then feigned composure. What do you mean? The office certified it. What could be wrong? Certified? Daniel laughed in anger. Now they're suing us for infringement. You tell me there's no problem? He threw the screenshot of the email from the lawyer at Brittany's face. See for yourself. Is this your so-called genius invention? It's just stolen technology that's been modified. Brittany, you've screwed me over. You've screwed over all of Evergreen. Brittany looked at the patent comparison chart on the computer screen, her face slowly turning pale. Her lips trembled, unable to speak. To quickly produce results and tie Daniel down, she had indeed taken some shortcuts, buying some foreign technical data for reference, never expecting to be caught red-handed. I don't know, she tried to argue. Shut up. Daniel roared, feeling for the first time that this woman in front of him was so repulsive. I was blind. For you, this liar, I divorced Hazel, caused her mother's death, and now the company is going to be ruined. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. To please Brittany, he had removed Hazel from her position, treated his daughter coldly, and even abandoned Hazel when she had an ectopic pregnancy with massive hemorrhage. Now it all seemed like a joke. Just then, the housekeeper came forward to help Brittany with her luggage. From today on, she'll live in the servants' quarters. She's not allowed to appear before me without my permission. Daniel, you can't do this to me. I'm your wife. Brittany screamed, pulling out their marriage certificate from loss. Daniel snatched it and tore it up. My wife is Hazel. As for you, you're just an object. Before, you were useful, so I could pamper you. Did you really take yourself for the mistress of this house? I'll settle the patent score with you slowly. Brittany collapsed to the ground in despair, unable to utter a single word of rebuttal. She was soon dragged away by the housekeeper. Daniel irritably took out his phone and refreshed it again, finding that I still hadn't replied. All his calls went unanswered. He continued to send me messages, hoping I would see them. Hazel, where are you? I know I've been a complete jerk lately. As long as you come back, I'll do anything you want. Lily cries every day, saying she misses her mom. But this time, the sent messages showed they were rejected by the recipient. Daniel was furious, slamming his phone to the ground, roaring at the bodyguards behind him, go find her. Within 3 days, I want to see Hazel in person. Meanwhile, Ethan was sitting by my bed, feeding me soup. I sent the patent lead to that company last week. Daniel should have received the patent infringement lawyer's letter by now. I softly replied. I had known about Brittany's patent issues for a long time. I had warned Daniel before, but he scolded me for being jealous and unable to stand Brittany's success. That was also the first time he hit me. So I didn't bother further, just waited for the truth to surface. My thoughts were interrupted by Ethan. Feeling better today? I nodded, saying to him, thank you. He smiled and wiped the oil from the corner of my mouth. Don't be so polite with me, we're getting married soon. I immediately blushed. That day, after Daniel and I complete the divorce registration, and he asked me to move out of the marital home, my heart finally turned cold. My first love, Ethan, had been by my side for 10 years, unwavering. I asked him if he would marry me. He agreed without hesitation. I thought marrying someone else would be good, so I wouldn't be hurt by him anymore. I just didn't expect what happened later. It hadn't arrived in time, I almost died. Thinking of everything I had experienced, I clenched my fists tightly, my eyes blazing with hatred. Ethan, when are we getting married? Ethan chuckled, holding my hand, so eager to marry me? We'll get married once you've fully recovered. I've already prepared for the wedding, you don't have to worry. Thus, I recuperated for 3 full months before Ethan allowed me to leave the hospital. And corpse crisis escalated. Stock price plummeted, partners pulled out, bank calling in loans. Daniel, once so prominent, was now on the brink of bankruptcy. He took all his frustration out on Brittany. They argued and threw things at home every day. Brittany was no pushover. Seeing lose power, her attitude towards him worsened, even complaining about being blind to have been with him, and suffered greatly. Before, to please Daniel, Brittany was somewhat gentle with Lily, buying her toys and reading her English picture books. But now, she would hit and scold Lily at the slightest dissatisfaction, and Lily often had bruises. Dad, I miss Mom. I want Mom to come back. Lily cried, finding Daniel. Daniel was speechless. He realized he had truly lost me. The wedding invitations were handwritten by Ethan himself. The name Hazel was elegantly inscribed in gold, much like the gentle curve of Daniel's pen 7 years ago when he signed the marriage certificate. At that time, he said, Hazel, from now on, your name will always be written next to mine. Now that line of text belonged to Ethan. When the assistant placed the invitation in front of Daniel, he was fuming at his computer screen. The stock price had dropped another 3 points. Brittany's stolen patent lawsuit clung to evergreen. Like a stubborn problem, paralyzing it. What's this? He didn't look up, his nails tapping a restless rhythm on the keyboard. The moment the red invitation was opened, Daniel's movements froze. Ethan Hazel, not the name he had whispered countless times at night, was now standing side by side with the city's capital tycoon. What the hell? Hazel? Which? It must be a namesake. How could Ethan marry? His words caught in his throat before he could finish, as he flipped to the inner page and saw my face in the wedding photo. In the photo, Ethan was leaning down to kiss my forehead. Daniel suddenly started to laugh, his shoulders shaking. Fake, it must be fake. He slammed the invitation on the table, making the coffee splash out of the cup. She wants to provoke me, doesn't she? Fine, Hazel, trying to make me come back by staging this act with a fake. Mr. Daniel, Liam couldn't help but interject, his voice barely a whisper. Garrison's official website just posted an announcement. The wedding date is set for the 18th of this month, same as on the invitation. Also, Mr. Ethan said at the board meeting yesterday that he would donate $300 million to build a charity hospital in Hazel's name. $300 million. The color drained from Daniel's face instantly. And, the woman he thought could only live off his charity, was now about to marry a man who could casually spend $300 million just to make her smile. He suddenly grabbed his phone, his fingers trembling as he dialed the number he had long blocked. A cold, mechanical female voice came from the receiver. The user you have dialed is currently on another phone. Impossible, Daniel muttered, slumping into his chair. Dad, Lily stood at the door, her face still bearing the finger marks Brittany had left. I'm hungry. Daniel impatiently waved his hand. Go find the nan. Why? Can't you see I'm busy? As soon as he spoke, he suddenly remembered something, grabbed the invitation, and shoved it into Lily's hand. Lily, look at this. This is fake, right? Mommy won't marry anyone else, she's just mad at Dad, right? Lily timidly looked at my smiling face on the invitation, then at her father's distorted face, and burst into tears. Aunt said Mommy is a bad woman and doesn't want us anymore. Bad woman. Daniel remembered how he had tacitly allowed Brittany to instill the idea of useless Mommy in the child to please Brittany. Everything was because of him, he had personally destroyed his own home. On the wedding day, St. Michael's Chapel bells chimed on time. Ethan looked down at me, the tenderness in his eyes enough to drown a person. Nervous? I smiled and shook my head. With you, how could I be nervous? I walked down the aisle, arm in arm with Ethan. Suddenly, the heavy chapel doors were violently pushed open. Daniel rushed in with Lily. Hazel, is that really you? His voice was hoarse. Tell me this isn't real. We had a fake divorce, didn't we say we'd remarry once I got the patent? The entire place burst into an uproar. The guests' gazes were like searchlights on us. Ethan calmly shielded me, his eyes cold as ice. I gently pushed him away, holding my wedding dress, and walked towards Daniel. Fake divorce? I smiled, my voice not loud but clearly audible throughout the chapel. Was the divorce certificate issued by City Hall fake? Everyone, I divorced Mr. Daniel 2 months ago. Just then, Lily broke free from Daniel's hand and ran to my side, clinging tightly to my leg. Mom, are you going to abandon Lily? Lily's lips trembled, and large tears streamed down her face. Mom, I know you're mad at me. I was wrong. Please come back. Your mom died in that hospital room the moment you left me, bleeding out. Wasn't that your way of condemning me to death? I don't want either of you, father or daughter. My voice was resolute. As I gently pushed Lily away. Just then, Ethan walked up to me and gently put his arm around my waist. We continued towards the altar, where we solemnly exchanged our vows. Just as Ethan was about to place the ring on my finger, Hazel, I can't live without you. Daniel actually knelt before me. I know I was wrong. Please come back? I'll give you evergreen, I'll give you everything. The guests gasped again, whispering and murmuring among themselves. Daniel knelt on the ground, his eyes filled with pleading and regret. I looked at him, a jumble of emotions churning inside me, but mostly indifference. Daniel, you hurt me countless times. Do you truly believe a single apology now can fix everything? We've been over for a long time. Ethan and I are about to start a new life, so please don't bother us anymore. At that moment, Ethan stepped forward. Mr. Daniel, troublemakers are not welcome at my wedding. Ultimately, Daniel was escorted out of St. Michael's Chapel by security. We completed the wedding ceremony, witnessed by everyone, officially becoming husband and wife. 3 weeks after I married Ethan, he pushed the CEO authorization for GU in front of me. If you get bored, find something to do. Ethan knew that during my years in the Jiang family, I was Mrs. Jiang in name, but in reality, a caged canary. I had always wanted to build a career and prove my worth in the professional world. Now placed the full decision-making power of GU before me. Things you didn't have a chance to do before, you can try now. 3 days later, I appeared at the bidding conference as the new CEO of GU. The projector was displaying Evergreen's proposal for smart city infrastructure, with Brittany standing at the podium. Daniel sat in the main seat, his tie askew, his eyes bloodshot and weary. Since the patent lawsuit broke out, Evergreen's stock price plummeted by 50%. This smart city bid was his last, desperate hope. Next, GU will present its proposal. As I st. Up, I heard Brittany gasp. The first slide of my presentation was GU's authorization agreement with the legitimate international patent holder. The core low-altitude navigation module in Evergreen's proposal, I said, tapping the computer screen with my finger, my voice amplified across the room, has been found to have a serious risk of patent infringement. GU has obtained the exclusive global license for this technology, and we are formally notifying Evergreen to immediately cease all use and promotion of the related technology. Brittany's face instantly went ashen. She shrieked, standing up, "You're lying. The office clearly certified it. Are you referring to the fake certification that cost $3 million to acquire?" I interrupted her, gesturing to my assistant to play the recording. "This is the testimony from your former technical consultant, proving that the patent's core algorithm was plagiarized from Company X's 2019 public paper." Daniel abruptly covered his face, his body shaking violently. The venue erupted in an uproar. Investors whispered among themselves, their gazes at Evergreen filled with disdain. The bidding conference concluded with GU winning the bid unanimously. As I walked out of the venue, Daniel caught up to me, grabbing my wrist, his voice filled with an unprecedented humility. "Hazel, please spare Evergreen. That's my father's life's work." I gently pulled my hand free from his grasp. "Mr. Daniel," I said with a faint smile, "business is war. I'm just playing by the rules. Oh, and by the way, I took the folder from my assistant's hand. This is GU's acquisition proposal for Evergreen, and the offer." I paused, looking at his ashen face. "Is 30% of your company's current stock price." Daniel's pupils constricted abruptly. 30%? You're taking advantage of the situation. Taking advantage? I chuckled softly. "Daniel, what you did to me was far more ruthless than this 30% offer." The acquisition proceeded exceptionally smoothly. Panic had already spread throughout Evergreen. The shareholders, seeing the generous terms offered by GU, quickly switched their allegiance. The day Brittany was forced out of Evergreen, she stood outside the company building, screaming insults and claiming I used dirty tricks to steal her man and her company. I had the security guards escort her into a reception room. She wore a faded t-shirt, a far cry from her usual dignified appearance. "Hazel, you bitch." She lunged at me, trying to scratch, but the bodyguards held her down firmly. "If you hadn't interfered, Evergreen wouldn't have gone bankrupt. Why would Daniel leave me? Brittany, you are implicated in business fraud and embezzlement, with a total amount of $12 million involved. I've already had Evergreen file a lawsuit. She stared at the numbers on the document, her eyes wide like saucers. Impossible. That money was for bags Daniel bought for me. Evergreen's company funds for your bags? I chuckled lightly. When you contributed the patent as capital, the $8 million technology transfer fee you advanced from Evergreen, and the $4 million you misappropriated from RD funds to buy luxury goods, every transaction has a record. I tossed the bank statements onto the table in front of her. Oh, and by the way, Daniel threw all the blame on you to save himself. She snapped her head up, her eyes wide with disbelief. Daniel, he can barely save himself now. I stood up, looking down at her. The court summons will be sent to your home next week. As for your prison term, I deliberately dragged out my words, with such a substantial amount involved, you're looking at a minimum of 10 years. Brittany slumped in the chair, muttering impossible. Then, as if something occurred to her, she shrieked, Hazel, don't you dare gloat. Do you really think Ethan genuinely cares about you? All men are the same, once the novelty wears off, weather will change his mind. I don't know, I cut her off. But I do know that everything you're experiencing now is your own fault. And the bond between Ethan and me, that's something you wouldn't understand. Just calmly wait for your court summons, Brittany. This time, no one can save you. When the police took her away, she was still screaming Daniel's name. Soon, the court's verdict came down, a sentence of 20 years in prison and a $5 million fine. After sold the company, he was left with only a few $1,000,000 after settling his debts. But he hoped to turn things around by using that money for futures trading. He always believed that if he had more money, I would return to him. But he lost everything, even the house he lived in. Perhaps unable to cope with the blow, he went mad, living on the streets and becoming a homeless person. I saw him on the streets countless times, his unkempt appearance a stark contrast to the once dynamic Evergreen CEO. But he never seemed to recognize me, merely repeating day after day, Hazel, I was wrong. Please, will you come back? I never responded to him, only occasionally giving him some money. After went insane, Lily became an orphan, so I took her back to the Gu family. I believe she has realized her mistakes. She was led astray by Brittany before, and I don't blame her. She's still young, and her values need to be reshaped. I will raise her well from now on. A year later, I gave birth to Ethan's child and knew. Sunlight streamed through the nursery window, falling on the baby's delicate face. Ethan hugged me from behind, resting his chin on my head. Hazel, the past is behind us. I looked out at the clear blue sky, the pain and betrayal finally transforming into the warmth in my palm. The past is gone, the road ahead is long, but it's clear. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.